The Harmony Codex by Stephen Wilson. I'm about to give the Blu-ray audio Atmos mix a listen at reference volume without distractions. I have already heard this Blu-ray once, and it has already begun to deepen my appreciation for this album. So now I get to go and sit distraction-free and with the bass just absolutely slamming and the Atmos system at work all around me. Gonna see what's going on with this album. Now, I've already experienced the Atmos mix streaming, and I gave a review of that. And now it's time for the Blu-ray audio, the standalone version, which is sold out at the moment, but I bet they're gonna do a rerun. And there are discussions of rerunning the deluxe set as well. So if you have missed out on the Blu-ray audio of this album so far, I think there is some hope. Now, this Blu-ray does lack some of the features that the deluxe set Blu-ray has, such as instrumental mixes. I think instrumental mixing is the main deletion here. Across stereo, 5.1, and Atmos, on the deluxe edition Blu-ray, you get all three options in instrumental form, but only vocal form here. And so I'm going to fire it up and I'll be right back. Alrighty then, first reference level listen to the Blu-ray, the Atmos mix of this album complete. I can tell you that I continue to find this album more and more interesting, and I like it as a whole better than any of the pre-release materials that were offered up. So the three songs that were given like a pre-rollout video, Economies of Scale, I remember Impossible Tightrope. I began to listen to a little bit of that, but I had a friend over and they weren't into it at all. And then I didn't even try out the third track. So I just wanted to take in the album experience. Now I've been able to listen to the Blu-ray audio. Here it is. Here it is. Sold out at the moment, but I bet they're going to do some more runs. And the definition here is just incredible. As I suspected, the clarity in the bottom end has just really helped me to engage with what's going on here. Harmony is absolutely essential to this album. That cannot be understated. And a part of harmony is bass. You know, bass is the foundation of harmony to our hearing. You know, we tend to perceive bass as being, you know, down low. And in fact, you know, it kind of like hugs the bottom of the room, you know, better. That like there's a reason why you don't emit bass from your Atmos speakers. And it's just the foundation. And look at this. This album needs a foundation. It's a staircase, for cripe's sake. You know, so yeah, this Blu-ray has helped me engage the album better. I have heard good reports from people listening in lossless stereo, like over headphones. So that can be a variety of streaming services, you know, maybe LP, CD, or even the stereo track on the Blu-ray, all lossless. And, you know, through headphones, I'm just hearing good things, that the album translates very well that way. The Atmos mix is like if you were able to take the headphones off and just hear everything ambient around you, the room you're sitting in, but still be like super immersed, like you're wearing headphones. So it's just a very cool experience. Then I've even heard of people listening to, you know, Atmos over an Atmos capable device, like a phone, and then through, you know, their headphones off that. So lots of different options here. This album, very cool. So a couple of comments about this Blu-ray. It doesn't have the instrumental mixes. Like I said earlier, you have to get the deluxe box for that. And the two included videos, Economies of Scale and the Harmony Codex, are both in stereo only. So I find that to be a little weird from like the master of surround, the master of immersive sound, Steven Wilson. I would have expected these videos to have been offered in stereo 5.1 and Atmos, or at least Atmos. So in any case, this album, oh my gosh, the clarity that comes through the Blu-ray Atmos mix is astounding. It has helped me to discover details that I didn't upon, streaming the Atmos. And it's possible that if I had like cranked that up loud enough and had zero distractions and was just in the same mood, I'm not trying to say that like the Blu-ray is essential to really get this album, but the definition is wonderful. And I noticed like things like a synthesizer starting from the front center of the room and then expanding over my right ear and ending in like a little blip, or just like these clever details that are just really cool to behold as they unfold. All right, to give you a sense of like how cool, Atmos can be and how effectively it's been used on this album, the Harmony Codex, to my ears, the Harmony Codex actually traverses its way through the octave of the Western scale. And as it does for this song in these clusters of 3 notes done 4 times, I actually hear the riff like shifting from, right in front of you, dead center front of the room, to like 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock, and then 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, 7, and so on around the clock, or like in a disc that starts at the front center of the room and then moves through you and then like back to the front center of the room. It's pretty crazy. I hope I'm just not hearing things like either I am, or the Atmos array that I built is accurate enough to discern that sort of thing. Like it was just a very powerful experience though, and I did enjoy the sort of abstract and non-melodic and very chromatic experience of being like forced to spend some time meditating through all of the notes of the Western scale. I thought that was very cool. Now, if something slightly different has been employed there musically, please let me know. And don't quote me on this unless I'm right, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here, and that's just very, very cool. Now, as I said in a previous video, Steven Wilson is paying like sonic homage to some of his earlier records in Serpentis, Grace for Drowning, Raven, and Hand Cannot Erase for sure. And then as we move closer to this record, To the Bone, Future Bites, it's no longer surprising that there would be sonic similarities. So obviously there are. In this album, we have a really nice blend of electronic elements, synthesizers, seemingly very new and like plug-in based, and then also vintage. And then we have acoustic piano, we have horns, we have violin, we have Chapman, like the stick bass thing, the Chapman stick, electric guitars, acoustic guitars, vocals from, Steven Wilson, and, some females as well. Apparently, maybe his wife, Rodham Wilson. So a lot going on here. Electronic, organic. It's a very nice blend. I tend to go in for this sort of thing. Like I've mentioned Rush, Signals, and Grace Under Pressure a lot on this channel. And then, Jethro Tull with A and Broadsword and the Beast. I really dig this sort of blend. I actually, prefer it to just an album that sounds completely organic, I suppose, because I grew up in the 80s, 90s, and just really have a taste for this sort of thing. So it's done super, super well. This Atmos mix is really incredible. Steven Wilson is a master of immersive mixing and has completely nailed it for this record. I don't know. Is it his best Atmos mix ever? I'd have to do like some A/B comparisons, some nominations of like the best 10 Atmos tracks ever, to really feel like I was giving like a reliable report there. But I've certainly read that opinion and heard that opinion plenty over the last week or so. And I can vouch that this is a very cool Atmos mix. You should experience it if you can. If you must stream it, then do so. If you get access to a standalone Blu-ray or the deluxe set, you got a Blu-ray player and a soundbar, 5.1 system, 7.1, Atmos of various flavors, just go for it. If you can headphone this album, go for it. Am I here to tell you that you're gonna absolutely like be in love with every track? Probably not, but there is something here for everybody. I hear some Rush, I hear some Pink Floyd, I hear some p.o.d. of all bands, I hear some Jeff Beck. Not to the extent that I'm really worried that SW is going to get a call from somebody's lawyer, but definitely to the extent that I feel the homage and the influence is quite clear. So we've got some really cool material. This does get a bit melancholic at times, but it doesn't sink down into the depths of just misery and tragedy like some of his previous albums. It's almost like the tragedy has already passed and you're left with like the later life, insight. So there's some sadness, there's some melancholy, but there also is a lot of light and there's a lot of air, and feels to me like there's not a little bit of spirituality going on here. So I've heard it said that Steven Wilson has taken fresh influence lately from being a family man, being married, and then, having some children to raise. And, does this, feel like someone who's just absolutely gone out to pasture and just has nothing to say from a rock perspective? I don't believe that's the case, but I would say that this is a bit on more of the elder statesman side of things, and not so much on like the young, up and coming, hungry, angry side of things. So I don't know. Take all that for what it's worth. I just wanted to report my first impression of the Blu-ray audio. I'm a fan, and particularly since, you never know if you're going to have internet problems or if, streaming service is going to deny your credit card or pull certain titles, from circulation. I just really like owning copies of stuff that I know I'm going to listen to again. And I'm going to listen to this again, particularly since I have a local friend who still hasn't taken receipt of his deluxe set. But when he does, and that should be any day now, it's only miles away. That should be any day now. We're going to schedule a time to enjoy it together, and I'm going to photograph or film as much of that as possible, and then, share the deluxe experience. But so far I can say, I started out not hating this album, which is already different than the Future Bites. Through subsequent listens, I like the album more. It's growing on me, whereas the Future Bites just grated more and more, and I almost couldn't like wait to stop listening to it anymore. I actually am planning on throwing it on pretty soon, maybe ahead of the deluxe experience for this record. I want to see how I feel about it now. It's been a while. So anyway, but this one is starting out more positively with me, and it's growing on me. I think there are some moments about this record that strike me as, maybe I don't get it or I'm not the intended audience, such as the almost rap in Actual Brutal Facts. But I don't know. It's nothing about this album like, really puts me off the same way that the Future Bites did over and over and over and over again. Okay, so here you go. First impression of the Blu-ray. I hope this is helpful to you. And as I said, it seems like the Blu-ray and the deluxe set are sold out right now, but I have at least heard through like fairly official channels, the talk about like they're looking into a reprinting of the deluxe box. And then I've just heard fans saying, please also do a repressing of the Blu-ray. And then just bear in mind that the Blu-ray is missing, the standalone Blu-ray is missing some features from the deluxe Blu-ray. And, not sure how I feel about that. Deluxe sets, I suppose, are allowed to be exclusive in their fashion. So it is what it is. Roll the bones.